Tonight on Fox 10 Investigates, missing in Arizona, a Phoenix man's mysterious disappearance in the Tonto National Forest. What happened to 25-year-old Khayman Welch?
Now, more than a year since he vanished, there is still no trace of him. And for the first time, we are hearing from the lead detective in the case as the missing man's mother desperately is hoping for some answers. Justin Lum reports.
We're wondering what Kai's doing.
Khayman Welch was a mystery himself, quiet and reserved. He didn't talk much to anyone besides family. Covered in tattoos, but underneath the ink, Rhiannon Llewellyn says her son Kai carried a heart of gold.
He is an amazing soul, amazing spirit. There's nobody in this world that doesn't love him.
Kaiman worked as a tattoo artist, but struggled with what he called crippling anxiety and battled depression. Then the COVID pandemic hit and he decided to get away to work on his mental health.
To kind of regroup and get back into it because he put his heart and soul into what he did.
Kaiman often messaged his mother with signs both negative and positive depending on the day. Rhiannon tells me she knew he was trying.
Everyone in the family knew that he was having some things he was working through, but I guess we didn't really know the extent of it.
But the days and weeks leading up to Kaiman's disappearance are haunting. His mental state concerned Rhiannon.
Honestly, whenever my phone rings and it's Uncle Brian calling, I kind of have a panic attack just because it takes me back to that night of when I got that call.
On August 12, 2020, Rhiannon learned her son was nowhere to be found. Tonto National Forest, more than 2.9 million acres, the largest forest in Arizona, a beauty in the Sonoran Desert, diverse with terrain, vegetation, and elevation. The Superstition Mountain awaits visitors from across the world. That day, Kaiman took a job with his uncle doing AC work at Tortilla Flat. After finishing work, he suggested stopping at Weaver's Needle Vista, east of State Route 88. They went, and his uncle parked in the lot just after 7 in the evening. Kai got out and explored, walking southeast towards the Needle.
It just seemed like he just wanted to go get a quick view of the vista at sunset.
This is where Kaiman came to get a better view of Weaver's Needle. For investigators, this point is the beginning of so many questions. What was Kaiman thinking in this very moment? Which way did he go? And where did he ultimately end up? Detective Rob Marsky with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has been investigating Kaiman's disappearance since then, trying to answer those questions.
He had made a comment to his mom. He wished he could go somewhere and nobody would know him, or he could just go and disappear.
An extensive search followed in triple-digit temperature for about 8 days. MCSO deployed tracking dogs, drones, helicopters with infrared cameras, and horseback riders. Kaiman, last seen wearing a black Ghostbusters t-shirt, black jeans, and black leather army-style boots.
Kai left behind 0 clues. During this intense search, we did not find any articles of clothing. He left without a water bottle. His cell phone was left behind in the vehicle. His wallet was left behind in the vehicle.
East of the valley, the Superstition fire burning near Gold Canyon has grown to over 4,400 acres.
Then came the Superstition fire, a week into Kaiman's disappearance.
Fire was not that far from here, just about 2 miles away to the east, but then to the south it was even closer.
Marsky says this event was detrimental to finding Kaiman. Another theory is that he may have perished without food and water in extreme heat well before the wildfire.
There is the theory that if his remains were out there, that they could have got burned up in the fire as well.
The categorized lines across this map document the ground covered by crews in the search thus far, littered with notes like the discovery of bones, dead animals, and mine shafts. To this day, MCSO has not found any physical evidence linked to Kaiman.
In some of these areas where you're in a valley and you're looking at trees and shrubs on the side of the face there, you know, you have to really get up close, and it just takes an immense amount of time to get up to each one of these and look.
So what do we know now? Is there anything new that we have?
We don't have anything new. You know, we're over a year now, and I've been in contact with his mom, with his uncle. They haven't been able to provide any additional information as far as his state of mind or any additional clues that would help bring any kind of closure.
Did Kai intend to disappear behind the sunset he came for?
I was able to gain access to his laptop computer and look at some of his search history. And some of his search history was related to look into suicide, not means of, but suicide in general.
This whole thing is that strange, and I know that whatever happened was not intentional.
Since August 2020, a group of valley hikers formed their own volunteer search team. They continue to make the trek to where Kai was last spotted, combing through the terrain, analyzing it all, updating Detective Marsky on their findings. As each day passes, Kaiman's mother just wants peace for her firstborn.
I have a hard time looking at his pictures right now, just because of how much trauma there is.
Wondering if she will ever be able to move forward.
With no answers, it just keeps you stuck.
Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.
Tomorrow is Kai's 27th birthday. Please contact MCSO if you have any information on this case, especially if you see something while you're out on the trails of the Superstitions.
The group trying to find him continues to raise money for a private investigator, billboards, and outreach to keep the search alive. We've got their info, Facebook info, on our website, fox10phoenix.com.